My work friends and I were out at our favourite pub last night. Not a really fancy place, but, you know, cheap beer and close enough to home that I don't really have to drive. The night started out normally enough. The four of us crammed into a small table off in the corner, mostly talking shop and shitting on our boss. Being as this was the middle of the week, there weren't too many other people around, maybe around 8 or 9 others in the whole place. Everybody just kinda keeping to themselves, the sort of people you'd expect to see in a pub on a Wednesday. From where I'm sitting, I have a pretty good view of the TV behind the bar. Jesse the bartender is kinda lazily flipping through channels and passes by our local news channel. There's a brief burst of orange and red on the screen, which I register as a fire happening somewhere, which then disappears as Jesse switches over to the next channel. Something about the image looks oddly familiar though. "Hey Jess, can you switch that back?" I call out to her. The news comes back on, and suddenly, I recognise the building in the frame. It's my building, and it's burning. "Holy shit!" I say, loudly enough that a few people follow my gaze to the television. "That's my apartment!" The crowd in the bar falls kinda quiet, everybody staring up at the screen now. The screen shows a wide shot of the outside of the building. The camera must be set up on the north end of the block, because I recognise a lot of the shops on the ground floor. Property management, dry cleaner, convenience mart, etc. The top left corner of the building is aflame. It's not a huge fire by any means, but it looks like a few units between the top 4 floors or so are already being engulfed by the flames. "Jesus, man," one of my co-workers says. That kinda sucks." There's an uncomfortable murmur of agreement that passes around the table. I mean, I don't really blame them. I wouldn't know what to say in that situation either. "Yep," I agree, just as awkwardly. Thankfully, my apartment is only about halfway up and located on the west side of the building. I cross my fingers, hoping that my stuff will be okay. The camera cuts to a reporter on the scene. He's standing a little further away, looking at the shops in the background. I can tell he's across the street on the northwest corner of the building. "Firefighters are expected on the scene any moment," he's saying, "and hopefully they'll be able to contain this horrible inferno before it spreads any further. As I was saying before, it's very fortunate that everyone was able to evacuate the building before things got too bad, or who knows what tragic events may have unfolded." "He's really laying it on thick," one of my other co-workers jokes. I chuckle a bit. All things considered, at the moment it really didn't seem all that bad. But then a few moments later... hang on," the reporter on the TV says. "We're getting some updated information. It seems... Hang on one moment while we readjust the camera." The previously locked down camera starts to shift, the angle focusing on an area of the building about halfway up the west side. All the lights in the building are out except for one. I feel a weird creeping sensation as I start counting the windows from the bottom. 5 up, 2 over. That's my place. I swore I turned the light out. Then I see it. There's a person standing in my window. The camera is zoomed out too far to make out any features, but it definitely looks like a man, and it's definitely standing in my apartment. I watch, petrified, as the camera zooms in closer, and the reporter babbling on about the overlooked, ill-fated soul still trapped in the blazing such and such. As the image gets closer, I start to make out more details. The person is dancing, or something. I don't really know how to describe it, but he's moving around a lot. And everything he's doing has this bizarre rhythmic quality to it. He starts waving his arms in the air, back and forth, and then he's waving them up and down at his sides. Then he's banging his fists on the glass. Then he's waving his arms over his head again, back and forth. Everything he's doing is to the exact same tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He starts jumping up and down, waving his arms over his head like he's trying to get someone's attention from a long distance. But everything is to the exact same rhythm, over and over again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. "What in the fuck?" I say, my voice a hoarse whisper. And then the camera gets a little closer, and finally, we can make out the person's features. It looks almost exactly like me. It's wearing the exact same clothes that I'm wearing now, clothes that I changed into mere moments before leaving the apartment earlier. Its face looks almost exactly like mine as well, except for its eyes. Its eyes are far too big for a normal person. It also has this almost comical look of horror on its face. I don't even know how to describe it. Imagine if someone were pretending to look scared, but as a joke. It would have almost seemed funny if the circumstances were different, but instead it was just extremely unnerving. No one in the bar is talking now. Everyone is fixed on the TV. The person is still swaying and waving around, beating its hands on the glass or jumping in circles. I almost don't hear the reporter mention the fact that the firefighters have rushed into the building and are now heading for my floor. Oh God, I think without really understanding what was happening. Please don't go in there. I stare transfixed at the screen. From this angle you can just barely see the top of my front door through the window, not too far behind where this creature is flailing around. Right now it is holding its face in its hands and shaking his head from side to side as if saying no. Suddenly, the door behind it bursts open as presumably the firefighters have entered my apartment. The creature stops moving. For a second, I see its expression change. The comical look of horror is gone, replaced by a huge smile filled with enormous pointed teeth. Then, the lights go out. We all just sat there, staring at the screen as the camera slowly zoomed out from the now dark window. No one says anything as we all quietly pay our bill and leave. I went directly to my sister's place across town and asked to stay with her. I told her there was a fire at my apartment, and that's it. When I tried to find footage online from the news earlier, it seemed like they had edited that last part out. I don't know if any of you on this subreddit know what this thing was, but I hope they didn't put out that fire. I hope they let the whole fucking place burn to the ground. So something that I'd like to start introducing as I pick up this channel a bit more and more is giving some kind of thoughts on the story after I've read it out. So no better time to start than this one. For quite a short story, that was pretty good. I liked it. There's a link in the description if you'd like to see it, written by someone called OQS. Like I say, if you follow the link, you'll be able to find it. But I liked that one. It was pretty cool. I think the simplicity of it worked in its favour. There was no grand storyline beyond, there's a problem. Oh no, the problem's got a lot worse, now we can see it's something supernatural. Oh dear. And I kind of like that. I like that in stories. But yeah, if you liked this one, please let me know in the comment section below. And I will catch you all in the next video. Keep it spooky, y'all.